Hello and welcome to live Irish Premiership action from Shamrock Park as Portadown welcome Linfield. It's 3 weeks since the champions were last in league action as David Healy celebrates a decade in charge of the Belfast club. David, 10 years to the day since that first game against Warren Point. How do you reflect on that time? Lots of fans have been doing that throughout this week.
Yeah, listen, I let others reflect on my time. It's been a roller coaster. It's been full of emotion. It's been highs. There's been lows. But even beforehand in there, I don't normally thank the players. They're the main reason. They're the main reason why I enjoy the job. I do the job. And it's even more special when you get some success along the way with, the group that we have alongside the staff. I also thank the staff. It's been an incredible journey. It's been a privilege. I love managing this football club. It means a lot to me. But as I say, the next challenge is always the biggest, and the next challenge is Portadown, which is tonight. The next trophy that you win is always going to be the biggest, and that's the way I look at that.
The way it's panned out, you've had 3 weeks since your last league fixture. How have you managed that, or has it even been beneficial given the amount of matches you played so early on in the season, given your European success?
Probably tell you a little bit better after the game if it's been beneficial, but we've worked hard. We worked a lot on last week on our fitness levels. We went back to a little bit of some of the work that we've done in pre-season. We actually called it mentality week last week, where sometimes it's easy when you don't have a game and you can maybe coast through a week and cruise through a week and not put the work in. But our attention to detail last week was good in terms of our fitness levels. It's always a difficult game when you come down to Portadown. Again, the pitch looks actually okay tonight, which is credit to Portadown. Looks to be potentially a little bit longer than normal. But in terms of coming down here, we've been down here last year. We drew, we conceded later on. More often than not, you get a tough battle down here. So we expect more of the same. We've prepared as best we can. We've done quite a few 11v11s in-house, and hopefully to that degree we get it right tonight.
And tell us about the team you've picked.
I think there's one change from our last game, Bangor. Ethan McGee replaces Ewan East. So one change. So again, that was one of our best performances in terms of being tough, being hard to break down, because I think Bangor have proved since then that it's a really difficult place to go. So one change tonight. Eastie's missing through injury, and Ethan McGee, again a player who's played hundreds of games in this league, understands his position and his role.
Now, it doesn't get more difficult than taking on the champions, does it?
Yeah, but I think, listen, you've got to really embrace it. It's wonderful. I love getting Linfield down here. Linfield's have huge admiration for Linfield Football Club. Obviously my daughter plays for them this last 3 or 4 years, and we're going down to Windsor tomorrow night to watch her play in the cup final. So yeah, I have huge admiration. They're wonderful fan base, and to me the biggest. They don't come any bigger in this year. So listen, I think the biggest thing for us is our third game in 5 or 6 days again. So we're going to have to dig deep. We're going to have to go really into every drop we have. But I thought we were very decent against Carrick last week. I thought we were really good on Tuesday night, and let's hope we can weigh in with a good performance tonight.
And then on the flip side, it's 21 days since Linfield have played, and maybe there's a degree of reset after their European campaign. How difficult the league is it? Because you're always a truthful barometer of the standard and how tight it's going to be this season.
Well, I think as I've said before, I think that the full-time teams, you'll see a wee bit of a gap. On any given day, any team can win. Let's be honest about it. But I would say, if we're being honest about it, we have to be at our optimum all the time against the big boys and against the full-timers. So we need to be at optimum tonight. And as I say, it's getting harder. There's no doubt about that. As I said many times, we're an hour and a half on a Tuesday, an hour and a half on a Thursday, and it's getting harder. But I still think it's possible. We've done it before. We've put in some really big performances, and as I say, we're in the back of a couple of really good performances the last couple of games. So listen, all ventured, nothing gained, as I say. We're going to go out, we're going to give it a real go, and as I say, if we're at our very, very best tonight, we'll definitely give Linfield a game.
Goals don't seem to have been the issue, but you've conceded too many. How do you try and stop that? I mean, it's $1 million question, isn't it? Everyone's trying to do it.
Yeah, we've given away too many goals, absolutely, and a lot of them on ourselves, to be honest with you. We just haven't been as we've had a lot of individual errors, you know what I mean, and And that wasn't like us last year. And of course, if you're conceding poor goals and conceding that many goals, then you're not going to win too many matches. But you know, we've been defending okay. You know, with a clean sheet there on Tuesday night. So, as I say, it's just cutting out the wee errors. And as I say, the concentration levels you need to have against the full timers is there. If you switch off for a second, you get punished with these teams. So we've got to make sure we're focused and totally focused for 90 minutes of the game and don't switch off at any times, because sometimes the small things are so important. And but yeah, if we get switched on, we know we're a very good defensive unit as well. But yeah, it's all, you know, when you can see too many goals, you're always going to find it hard to win in football matches.
And tell us about the team you selected.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously we've still got Shea McCartan injured for all season, and Josh Ukek's been out 8 weeks now. Red Tulloch's now getting up to pace. He's had a couple of games. He was out for the first 6 weeks this season. Ben Wiley's just on the back of a 3-game suspension, so going to bring Ben in tonight again. We Macy's come in and was fantastic for a couple of games there. But again, 3 games in 5 or 6 days is difficult, you know. But I think we're freshening up with Ben in the middle of the park tonight. He's been outstanding all season for us. So, yep, and the rest really picks itself at the minute, you know. So, as I said, bar the 2 or 3 guys that were still, Lee Chapman's still suspended as well. So we'll get he's back the next game. So, yep, I think we're going as strong as we possibly can. So, but as I say, it's yeah, we're happy with the team selection. Again, it's all about turning up now and enjoying it. And I've told the boys to go out and enjoy themselves tonight.
Players out on the pitch for this Friday night game. Linfield led by Jamie Mulgrew. And let's look at the 2 starting lineups. Chapman is still suspended for the home side. Reece Annette can't play against his parent club, but Wiley and Thompson are back from suspension. McCarry makes his 50th appearance for Portadown. Miller and Mulgrew actually started David Healy's first game in charge against Warren Point 10 years ago. Baird and Brown at that stage were still in primary school. Offord and Fitzpatrick have combined for 13 goals already this campaign. Tony Clark is your match referee alongside the 2 experienced skippers, Mulgrew and Thompson. And before tonight's fixture, Sheffield Wednesday and Everton, of course, managers like Clough, Jack Charlton and Hart Kendall, so highly thought of in the game. Very personable figure, and Shamrock Park will pay its respects. As you would expect, the minute silence impeccably observed here at Shamrock Park in memory of Jim Emery, long-time chief scout at Linfield, a big figure within the local game. Our thoughts with his wife Sharon and his extended family at this difficult time. Jim Emery, someone who I was lucky enough to meet on a number of occasions and heard a lot about growing up. He actually helped bring my dad across to England and transfer to Sheffield Wednesday all those years ago, along with Pat Munster, and he was so highly thought of by a number of local players who, for a number of decades, 4 or 5, went a similar route. A very influential figure at the club and someone that the extended Linfield family are very much in mourning for at this time. Kyle McLean gets us underway. Plays it back to Chris Johns, who goes long. Philip Lowry alongside me on co-commentary for this game. It seems strange that Linfield haven't played in, what, 21 days. They have an early attack through. Sean Brown and a corner kick in the opening 15 seconds.
Certainly, it's been a long break for them, and I think the last performance they had in the league against Bangor, they won convincingly down there, and I'm sure David Healy and his troops will have been itching to get back to competitive action, and they've made a decent start having a corner inside the opening 20 seconds here.
Taken short, picked up by McGee. Good stop from McCarry. So many bodies in there in red, and I think it was the goalkeeper who got the touch. Really fast start from the champions. Played in low and again away by Alton Top, but only as far as McLean. I don't think Portadown have really had a touch in possession themselves so far. Wiley back in the side, tries to surge forward and wins a free kick, and that'll help settle Niall Curry's side down.
Certainly will just get them a bit of respite from that opening minute. As we see a replay, it's one straight off the training ground. It's actually a great touch from McGee, isn't it? And McCarry's actually beat there. I think it comes off one of the Port's defenders there, and they saved a certain goal, but I think that's been Portadown's issue this year, isn't it? We were just chatting beforehand about how many goals they've conceded, and that's a decent ball in behind.
Well, they're now attempting to win a corner kick themselves. It was Tulloch. Quickly closed down by the Linfield backline. Linfield have only conceded once from open play, twice so far this season, in stark contrast, as you were saying, to Portadown. Conceded 23. The joint worst defensive record alongside Glenavon, who of course rooted to the bottom of the table on no points.
Yeah, that'll be the really disappointing thing for Niall. Normally has his team so well organised, doesn't he? Niall Curry, always a really difficult to beat side, and especially coming here, it's always a very difficult game, and he'll look at be getting back to being firstly really, really hard to beat, and secondly, can they threaten the Linfield goal? And just looking at the matchups, it looks like Portadown have gone with the 4-3-3, and you have to say it's a bit of a mismatch in terms of the physicality of their front three. They're going to have to play balls into feet, look for runners down the side, and try and get that Linfield defence turned.
Wiley tries to link up with Teelan on the far side. It's Teelan's 23rd birthday today. How important is that access of Luke Wilson and the experienced Gary Thompson alongside him?
Yeah, it'll be pivotal and key for Portadown tonight. As you say, very similar players in terms of physically very aggressive, will compete for every single ball in there like you have to do. And it's a sloppy pass from Gary, just gifting it to Jamie Mulgrew.
Offord tries to beat his man for pace and catch out the goalkeeper at the near post.
It's good play from Kieran Offord. That's his game, isn't it? Loves that ball down the side of the defender, and when he gets that yard, he's so hard to stop, so physically strong, such a low centre of gravity. And
well, you can see here McKinnon beaten for pace, and there's a little bit of holding going on. Probably both players guilty of it.
Certainly is, and he's very honest there. Kieran Offord, if he hits the deck, not that we would condone it, then Tony Kane's got a big Tony Clark, sorry, I should say, would have a big decision to make.
Miller's corner kick flicked on by Fitzpatrick. Bear got his head on Offord, trying to get the touch. Brilliant turn from Offord, driven across the 6-yard box and away by Alton Top.
He looks razor sharp. We say it every time, don't we? Every time the ball goes near him, something looks like it's going to come off him, and in this opening 4 minutes he looks bang up for it. Portadown are going to have to get to grips with him.
It's been a bit of a bombardment early on. Here it comes from McGee. McCarry drops it under real pressure. Who's going to react first? It's hacked away, but only as far as Mulgrew is relentless from Linfield. Back towards Baird. Got there just ahead of Thompson, but there was insufficient contact for a penalty kick.
It's been relentless from Linfield, hasn't it? They look like a team who haven't played in 3 weeks. They look bang up for it and razor sharp.
Wilson Plays it forward, looking for the pace of Thielen. 3 in this attack. Wiley, there's a player over here on the near side. Glorious opportunity for Portadown. Quickly closed down by Johns. What a chance that was. It was Tulloch, picked out by Ben Wiley, and completely against the run of play. It was Portadown who almost struck first.
That's a massive opportunity for Portadown. We mentioned they've been penned in the opening 5 minutes, and it was a lovely counter-attack. Broke down the right-hand side, came across to Ben Wiley, I think, wasn't it, in the middle? And I just looked at it, I think he just took too long. He took too long, as we see here. Wiley receives it in the back foot, does everything correctly. First touch, doesn't really get it out of his feet, and he allows Chris Johns to cover the angle. Tulloch's got to do way better there, in my opinion. I just thought he could have just caressed it into that far corner first day, and he even did have time to take a touch, but the touch just didn't go far enough out of his feet, and that's a huge let-off for Linfield, a massive chance for Portadown.
Striker did have time out at the start of the season. He's making his way back to full fitness. Here's Thielen, who played a part in that opportunity. Defender and overlap back to Wiley, who himself had a lot of space in the Linfield penalty area. 2 bites to the cherry. Second one bounced off a defender after an error shot first.
That's another absolutely massive chance for Portadown. You can see David Healy's going crazy down on the sidelines there at his defence, but we mentioned Linfield playing that narrow defence. The spaces are down the side, and Portadown have exploited that on a number of occasions so far.
Mulgrew to Alford. Certainly end-to-end stuff in the opening 6 minutes. Here is Tulloch, who had that brilliant opportunity a moment ago. Miller disguises the pass to find Fitzpatrick. Looks like he's going to have a go. It takes a touch on his way towards a corner kick.
It's been a fantastic opening 7 minutes. It's been end-to-end. It kind of feels like the end of the game as opposed to the start, but here's the chance for Wiley. It's a decent cutback, isn't it? It just gets his technique all wrong. Another massive chance for Portadown. I just wonder, he probably could have taken a touch there, couldn't he, and steadied himself, but it's been a positive start from Wiley. That's both chances he's been heavily involved in.
So much room at the back post for Roscoe. It was at a difficult height for him, but well, it's a lot more open than I think we would have expected it to be, as McCary then tries to thread one through the middle for Thielen.
Yeah. Roscoe just, I think it was McKinnon was his marker at the back post there. He just out-muscled him and might have even been able to take that down there, opted to head it back, but just couldn't get it back into the danger area. But it's been a really good start. Both teams have settled in well now. Portadown obviously struggled in the opening minute or two, but look like they've got gained in confidence from getting those chances, and Niall Curry will be really delighted with that. It shows that there is opportunities here for them tonight if they're a bit more clever in their movement and their final pass.
Thompson was sent off against Carrick Rangers, but back for tonight. Here's Wiley. Shown a red card against Cliftonville, his former club, earlier in the season. It's the first time there's been a degree of calmness around the play on the pitch. Here's Thielen. Isamal has been heavily involved in the early stages. It's Thompson.
Yeah, and the switch was on there, Porter. He just didn't play it there. Luke Wilson, seen the ball came into him as one of the Linfield players is down and needs treatment, but that'll be the way to success, in my opinion, for Portadown this evening. You mentioned Linfield have those physically imposing back three, and Portadown are playing those quickie trick wingers, aren't they? And Thielen and Fife and Tulloch, so they've got to get them on the ball and get running at them and get runners in between the spaces. And it looks like the skipper's down, isn't it? And that's no sight that any Linfield fan wants to see, especially with Chris Sheason. You can just see the symbol being, signal being made
for Jamie Mulgrew.
He looks in a lot of pain there, and we all know Jamie's not someone who will lie down very easily, as we see. It's just he lost his foot in there, McKinnon, didn't he? And Roscoe just couldn't get it back into the danger zone. But it's been a frantic start. We've had so much action in the opening 10 minutes. Both sets of players probably glad just to get a drink and get a recap. But that's a huge blow, not just for Linfield obviously, but for everyone who likes football in this country. Seeing that man limp off with an injury, and we mentioned a number of weeks back. Chris Shields is out for a considerable period of time, and Jamie doesn't go off very easily, so one man misfortune, as they always say, is another's opportunity, and it looks like Archer, I think, is getting stripped off, isn't he? So another opportunity for him to stake a claim in that Linfield midfield.
Yeah, on comes Joshua Archer in place of Mulgrew, who's made his way straight to the dressing room. Had that spell out after a couple of the games in Europe. Battled his way back, Jamie Mulgrew, but he's away to receive more treatment. On comes the experienced Archer, though. Played a lot of games over the past couple of seasons. As Offord tries to make his way through the middle. Alton top retreating and cleaned up by McCarry. Tuller.
It looked for a second there that Offord was going to beat Alton top for pace. I think another 2 or 3 yards he may have done so, but the big defender stuck to his guns and cleared the danger well.
McCullough throwing towards Wiley. Interesting that David Healy referred to that mentality week, if you like. It was almost a pre-season feel to the last 7 days from Linfield point of view. Obviously the likes of Sean Brown was away on international duty with the under-21s, but very rarely in any stage of the campaign would Linfield have a break of 3 weeks without a fixture. So Healy tried to make the most of it, tried to keep the fitness levels up as Miller played it across to Brown. Just gave that little glimpse for Fife to try and get between the two players, but Miller played it perfectly. Tries the same pass again towards towards Brown.
Portadown just happy to drop into a low block at the Linfield back three, and players stay in front of them, try and make them play through them like they're trying now.
Brown. Looking for McGee.
I think this is what Niall will want to avoid. Yes, you can get into a low block, but it's that when you win the ball back then and you aimlessly just launch it forward to Eamon Fife, who's got 3 men around him. That's not the route to success for Portadown, in my opinion. They've got to get up the pitch so that, like this, when they win the ball back, they've got numbers around it and they can break.
Tuller opens up for him, makes a darting run into the penalty area, cuts it back towards Fife. There's a player over, it was Thielen, and it's off the line by Archer, who's only on the pitch. Portadown still on the attack. Played in it again and headed away for a corner kick. And for that good Linfield start and all the opportunities they created in the opening couple of minutes, they could easily have conceded a couple here.
Yeah, Portadown should be 3-0 up. It's simple as that. It's a brilliant run from Tuller. You thought Fife was just going to swing on it. He actually does really well. Thielen sides footed. I just wondered, could he have just put the laces through it and just cleaned it out? But ends up it's actually a fantastic block on the line. Was it Roscoe, I think, got back in, and even that's a superb delivery from McCullough, just no one getting across the front. But as we said there, Portadown should have 2, potentially 3 if you count that Wiley chance as well at the penalty spot. So encouraging for them, but I always think when you're on top against Linfield, you have to take your opportunities.
Corner kick, looking for the run at the far post. Here's Miller. Seems to be very good in the early stages. Scored the winner. Sorry, that was Wiley that time. Thielen's made the run outside him.
Great pass.
Here he is again. Thielen has support. Wiley. It's another one.
These are huge opportunities, and it's the same route. It's wide, high and wide. Wingers holding their position. It's a fantastic ball from McCullough. Drops it on a sixpence. Miller's too high, and again, you thought Thielen might shoot, but he probably takes the better option and sets Wiley. And again, when you're in that in the positions like that, me personally, I always think you've got to put your laces through it and give it every chance. You always end up full of regret. I always think if you don't score there from side foot, and unless you've obviously passed it with a lot of venom into the corner. But in those instances, I think you just got to hit the target with as much venom as you can, because even then it can come out to a second striker and someone can tap it in. That's 4 huge opportunities for Portadown.
Thielen again trying to get on the end of it, and once more manages to. Support from Fife. Thielen tried to trick himself on the edge of the penalty area. Linfield do have bodies back there, but they're simply not closing down the Portadown players when they get into the Blues penalty area, and that's another half chance if you like it. Niall Curry's just underneath us, and he must feel it in the opening 15 minutes. He weathered the early storm, but since then his side have been on top.
Definitely, and it's these areas here. They're picking every second ball up. They look really mobile in there. Ben Wiley's been central to everything, and Thielen and Fife, they look like they've got a couple of real live wires up the top end of the pitch. You mentioned Linfield, like sometimes when you do go 3 weeks without a league fixture, and yes, you can train as hard as you want, but nothing prepares you for the pace and the intensity of an Irish League game, especially away from home against a Portadown side coming in with a lot of motivation. So we've got to get to grips with them.
Alford, only one thing in his mind. Scored a couple of goals in Europe from that kind of range, Kieran Alford. Yeah, Portadown defence, just a bit of confusion between the back four and the 2 defensive midfielders there around who should be picking them up, and that man doesn't need a second invitation, as you rightly said there, and to pull the trigger. Portadown temporarily down to 10 because Eamon Fife has taken off the Under Armour. He's warmed up on this Friday night in Portadown. A little bit like as I have. Started slowly, but have grown in confidence. Here is Fife back on the pitch.
Thielen's made a really, really bright start, hasn't he? He's a player I played with for a short period of time at Crusaders when he signed. Came with big expectations there, I have to admit, and probably just didn't live up to those opportunities. Probably he found them limited, and if he's being genuinely honest with himself, I think when he did get those opportunities, he probably didn't take them with both hands, and he's got himself a move here now, and it looks like playing regularly every week's really, really benefiting him now, and he's got to put the numbers up now to go along with the performances in terms of goals and assists.
Here's Baird. Kirk Miller screaming for it in the near side. His delivery is a difficult one for McCary to deal with, and then Brown plays it over the top.
It's like a game of you attack, we attack, isn't it? It's brilliant to watch, and it's a couple of McCary's just misjudged. That man Kirk Miller puts in such a great delivery, and it's not overly convincing goalkeeper. It's but for a really alert defending from Thielen at the back post that gets tapped in. So it's just a couple on McCary's had in the opening 20 minutes here.
It's been a cracking 18 minutes so far for the neutral. The only thing that's been lacking has been a goal at this point in the game, and it's quite staggering that hasn't happened yet.
It just looks like Linfield have swapped the two wing backs, and I think that's just to probably combat James Thielen on that side. I think Kirk Miller obviously not as defensively naturally minded as Sean Brown would be. So Miller's come over to his usual right hand side, and Brown's gone to the left. That's probably just to try and plug the flow of attacks that's been coming down that left. Portadown's right, Linfield's left with James Thielen.
Five closes down Roscoe, but it's worked back to Hall. McGee for the injured East, the only change in the Linfield side from that victory against Bangor. Archer turned straight into trouble, and Johns didn't want to take any chances. Quickly off his line to clear. If you're just joining us, Jamie McGrew forced off early on through an injury himself, the Linfield captain. Linfield are ready without Chris Shields for the season after a serious knee injury. Hopefully the early stages of the rehabilitation are going well.
It was excellent midfield play there from Gary Thompson, wasn't it? Just snapped in, and just unfortunately for Portadown's sake, he just got too much on the through ball. But we mentioned Portadown as we see it coming into the box here. But we mentioned Portadown's midfield before the game, and they've been on top. You have to say, Wiley, he's been really, really influential, and he's done really well here again to find his attacker.
McCullough keeps coming in. If Tulloch had been able to squeeze it out towards that far side, both Wiley and Thielen were certainly in an advanced position after the run from McCullough on the opposite flank.
he's got to play that pass. He had options left and right, to be honest. McCulloch had made a fantastic overlapping run, but was also on to slip Thielen in right. And McCulloch just didn't get her out of his feet, as we see a full-blooded challenge from McKinnon, which the Portadown fans on that side absolutely loved. But one player we haven't mentioned is Kyle McLean. He's just received the ball here, I think, for the first time in this match.
His cross partially dealt with by McCullough, away by Altentop. Roscoe. You can see Ross Oliver and David Healy having a conversation in the edge of the technical area. You can understand that.
Yeah, they just look a bit open, don't they? They've had lots of possession, but it seems to be when it breaks down, they look a wee bit vulnerable down the sides and probably just haven't got their set right when they're attacking.
Still scoreless.
Somehow.
Yeah. Five fixture tomorrow: Bangor against Crusaders, Cliftonville, Larne, Coleraine, Dungannon Swifts, Glenavon, Carrick Rangers and Glentoran against Ballymena United. You can stay across all the action on Sports Sound, available on BBC Sounds and of course on Radio Ulster as well, as the long throw-in comes from McGee. Joel Taggart will be on the hot seat for that. Live text as well on the BBC Sport Northern Ireland website. We'll have the goals available to watch there too. Linfield go into this game in fourth spot. Played 3 fewer fixtures than Coleraine, who lead the way. 6 points between the two sides. Portadown down in 9th on 12 points. 4 points behind Linfield, having played 4 games more. Good run from Baird. Squeeze it across to Miller. Taking on McCullough. Not the first time they've done battle down through the years, and it's Sean Brown who heads into the hands of McCarry. Brown didn't actually play for the under-21s during the window, was brought in by Tommy Wright after a really good start to the season for Linfield, having made the switch from Larne.
He's been an excellent signing and one who's really impressed me in the games I've seen him in this year. Probably didn't expect him to have the impact that he has had, having not really had many games under his belt. Yes, he was at Ballymena and played a few games for Larne, I think, but he's been really impressive and he looks like he's right at home at this level. And he's just gone from strength to strength, hasn't he? So really positive for himself and Linfield. And I think just looking at Kirk, I think it just makes more sense for him on this side, doesn't it? We've seen him there. He just squared Stephen McCulloch up, just got his yard, and how many times do we say it's on the money 9 times out of 10, and wing back to wing back, it would have been a great goal.
Miller in his testimonial season mentioned the fact that he was part of that first Healy game against Warrenpoint, a 3-0 victory. Set the ball rolling, all the success after that. 6 titles since taking the job. Second time these two sides have met so far this season. Finished 3-0 at Windsor Park to Linfield early in the campaign. Sam Taylor and 2 Matthew Fitzpatrick goals in that victory. In fact, you have to go all the way back to when Philip Lowry and Mark McAllister,
That must have been a while ago,
scored the goals as Portadown defeated Linfield here. That was the last win back in February 2016. Still as much of a scoring threat now for Limavady Valley United.
the ball's gone out on the far side, I think there. Portadown fans aren't happy, but the game's just probably entered a bit of a lull, which was probably due, to be fair. The amount of action that we've seen in the first 15 minutes, both sides have sort of been content to let each other have it in the deep areas, and they haven't really been able to penetrate through the lines. And I just don't think Linfield have recovered from losing Mulgrew, and it's nothing to do with Josh Archer coming on. It's just when you lose your skipper and your talisman, and it's 1 or 2 things. You can see a few chances. Sometimes it can rock you a wee bit, and they just need to get control again, Linfield, and get back to what they were doing in the opening couple of minutes, moving the ball quickly, getting it forward to this man Offord whenever they can, because he looks a threat every time he gets the ball.
is there also an element where there's a little bit of delay for the Mulgrew injury, and there's almost a realisation reported down where they've had those couple of chances and they suddenly start to get a bit of belief and think, right, you know, maybe we can get something from this game. Maybe we can go at them, and they've created a couple since then.
Yeah, just from as we just see Fitzpatrick making a run here.
Cut back by Miller towards Offord. Onto his left foot. They carry well possession.
It's unlucky from Offord, but I'm just going to say, over the years playing against Linfield, you're always told we might only get 1-2 chances at a maximum, and Portadown have 4 gilt-edged chances in the opening 25 minutes, and they've taken none of them. And seen it so many times over the years, it comes back to bite you. Linfield have got far too much firepower, both on the pitch at the minute and on the bench, to not score, in my opinion. So I don't want to say that the writing's on the wall for Portadown, but we've seen it so many times, haven't we, over the years. And but Portadown's got to keep doing what they're doing. Look, a real threat in the counter-attack when they can get bodies forward, and they've shown that there's opportunities there for them.
Miller looks for Fitzpatrick. Mentioned he hit that double in the fixture earlier in the season. Hasn't really had a sniff of goals so far tonight. This could be his chance, so Fitzpatrick. First touch was decent, but he's crowded out of it by McCullough.
It's good defending from McCullough, isn't it? Just covering his centre half, got his body between man and ball. He looks a player who looks like he's getting fitter every year, Stephen McCullough. He looks after himself really well. Looks like he's getting stronger and stronger.
Over 400 games, 14 seasons in the Irish League. .31 now. Steve McCullum, and all know the quality he has from set pieces as well. A clap from Gary Thompson, who felt that the official did well not to sound his whistle with a couple of tasty enough challenges going in.
Very rarely you see a player applaud a linesman,
especially one who's just been sent off a couple of games ago.
That sums up Gary Thompson. Know very well. Was in London with him last weekend, watching the NFL, and fantastic guy.
Miller. McGee gives it away, and this is when Portadown have looked dangerous. McCullough. Tullett doesn't make the run on this occasion. Almost half an hour played. Still scoreless. Here's Archer. Introduced for Mulgrew. Crossed it. Brown. Stood away, tries to switch it with Offord in the middle, and Miller just behind him. Thompson picks it up. Real boost for Portadown having him back alongside Luke Wilson. And then Fife was looking for the free kick in the halfway line.
Portadown have just got into that scenario again where they've got everyone bar Eamon Fife back, and they're not moving with the ball. As we said, whenever it's played forward, he's outnumbered, and it's just coming back again.
Oh, it's a lovely touch from Offord. Can he find the opener? Well, it's dragged wide. One pass threaded through, and Offord, not for the first time, the danger man with the opportunity. Any surprise was it didn't end up in the back of the net.
Yeah, huge chance, and
what a pass.
It's a delicious pass from Kirk Miller. Does everything right, opens his body and just drags it wide of that right-hand post, and he'll be disappointed with that. He'll want that one back for sure. You can see he's not happy with himself, but that's been the case in the last 3 or 4 minutes for Linfield. They've been able to move through the thirds far too easily. Portadown got into a low block, but there's no pressure on the ball when it's coming in their final third, and if you give a player like Kirk Miller that space and time there, he'll thread those passes all night long, and eventually they will take one.
Hall across to Roscoe. Baird had made a run up towards the opposition penalty area, and then it's just wide again from Kieran Offord, who gambled, got in between the defender and goalkeeper, seemed to lift it away from McCarry, but just the wrong side of the post from a Linfield perspective.
I think that's a slightly more difficult chance, that one. He's on the stretch. McCarry's closed the angle down really, really well there, and it would have been a brilliant goal if he was able to direct that past McCarry, but that's what he gives you, isn't it? He's always on the move. Yeah, he's always on the move. He's a nightmare to play against and a dream to play with, I think, for Linfield defenders, because you know if you put it into an area, he can turn, you know, poor balls into really good balls very quickly.
Yeah, he's relentless up there. Decent crowd in Shamrock Park for this game. Our travelling Linfield contingent. Here's McGee back from injury. Miller cuts inside with Tulloch trying to help out. Roscoe's pushed up. Linfield have certainly pushed up in this attack.
That's what Linfield are doing better now. When that ball's headed out, they're getting on second balls and just retaining, recycling and going again.
Thielen wins it back from Brown. Breaks up an Linfield attack. Certainly more slicker from the champions in the last couple of minutes. Johns, who's been called into action on a few occasions, one cleared off the line as well. Going in search of his 100th clean sheet for the Belfast club. McGee. Fitzpatrick. An offered link up. McLean plays it across to Roscoe. 3 or 4 Linfield players in the middle. No cross yet. McLean clips it in, but as he's dealt with by Wilson, the first defender. McKinnon looks for the pace of Fife. He's got past one Linfield player. Does very well to get there ahead of McGee. That's really good forward play by Eamon Fife. Now he wants support. He just took a little bit too long to get there, but
it's excellent from Fife, isn't it? Really, really could be mentioned. He's been feeding off scraps the last period of this game, and it was a hopeful ball kicked forward. Showed fantastic strength and pace just to get there, take the ball in, and Portadown needed that, to be honest. They've been under the cosh. Linfield have had a lot of possession. Just give them a chance to get up the pitch and get a better respite.
Thielen. It's been curbed a little bit since midway point of the first half. Here's Tulloch. 2 players around him now, closing him down. That wasn't a factor early on.
They just need to move a bit quicker there. Just give it back to McCulloch and go out the other side and keep the ball recycling. That just gives the ball straight back to Linfield, and they can build their attacks again.
Miller switches across to Roscoe on the far side. Brown, only one thing in his mind, looks up and picks out Miller. Tulloch has McCulloch outside him, but again Fife looking a little bit isolated, so McCulloch has to check back, and that meant that he was taking on 3 Linfield players in a very tight situation. Roscoe getting him the ball a lot more as McLean goes down, and the free kick's actually given against McLean for the handball, just as he tried to take a quick one to offer.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those, hasn't there, and the linesman on this side, and Tony on that occasion not buying it. Actually looked in real time like a free kick. Hand comes into the back, I think, but he's given the handball.
Yeah, it was Isamala making the challenge.
Yeah, just a chance for Portadown to regroup and get men forward again and try and get an attack, because since those chances they've really been penned in, haven't they? They've not been able to get any sort of penetration since those opening stages.
Alton top there taking any chances anyway. That ball's in the top of the stand, I think, at Shamrock Park. Defender who joined permanently from Lauren in January. Hope he hasn't hurt himself in that.
I think his hips popped
in
out
that process. Yes,
after he volleyed that ball.
Yeah.
He made sure he wasn't taking any chances there, I can tell you.
Fitzpatrick in between the two centre halves. Here's Roscoe. Another tester for McCullough, who just tries to let it run into play.
Big 10 minutes for Portadown, you feel, isn't it, just before half-time. We've said, haven't we, they should be 3-4 goals do the good, and now it looks Linfield are the more threatened. They've just got to get the half-time now and, you know, not going in behind. Massive 10 minutes for, we mentioned they've conceded 23 goals, is it, so far this season?
Yeah.
He'll be looking to address that. Don't want to give away any cheap goals. Obviously, if the opposition are going to score, you want them to do something, you know, extraordinary or something spectacular, where you can hold your hands up and go, well, we couldn't do anything about that. It's probably the preventable goals that will really have annoyed Niall Curry and his men this year, and so far they've been solid. Linfield have got in a couple of times, and Offord might look at that one he dragged past the post as one he should have had, but it's been really positive from Portadown so far.
Yeah, no shortage of chances at both ends of the pitch. Offord could have had a hat-trick. Portadown could have scored 3 or 4 themselves, and match started to settle down a little bit. With Linfield dominating possession, as you would expect. Looking for Brown at every opportunity. Offord attempts to flick it over the two defenders, but McKinnon and Asamal react to stop the Scotsman. So much more urgency now from a Linfield point of view. Fitzpatrick played in low, easy clearance though. Wilson just sitting in front of the back four. Gary Thompson just in advance of him, alongside Wiley and Thielen. Good challenge from Thielen, closing down Miller.
Linfield have done a good job of getting the Portadown wingers pinned back in the opening periods. You know, Tulloch and Thielen were right up on the two side centre backs, whereas now they're chasing the wing backs back at every occasion, and they're just boxed in and can't get out anymore.
You called straight away the switch worked.
Yeah, it's worked. It has worked, and David Healy obviously knows better than me, of course, and he obviously spotted that they were getting in probably too easily down that side. But I think naturally Linfield just have taken more control of the ball as well, and I was thinking a 4-3-3. The Portadown are playing against the back three of Linfield. I always think your front three should just go man for man and press the back three. That way you can just trust your fullbacks then to get out the wing back. But what's happening is Thielen and Tulloch on the other side have now marked the wing backs, and even Fife's up against 3 players, and the ball's just been coming back for the last 10 or 15 minutes.
There's Fife right now, trying to link up with Tulloch. It actually looks as if Tulloch and Thielen might have had a switch of wings just to see if they can reap any reward. Here is Thielen. Fife tussling with all. That's exactly the point you've just made.
He's at right back. He should be in there.
Fife from where he was in offside position. Here's Alton top. Straight back over the head of the striker. And the influence that Ben Wiley has had in the early stages has subsided a little bit.
It exactly has, and it's probably due to that fact as well that the front three aren't taking the ball in anymore. They've been starved of service. So they were the ones who were linking him, and he was playing his 1-2s, and he was able to get beyond. But as you say, he's been completely nullified. He hasn't featured as much in the second half of this first half.
Brown. Offers touch is too heavy.
You can see David Healy not happy, and I think that's the thing with Kieran Offord. I've maybe said it before, that he's far from the finished article in terms of his hold-up play, which is probably why we love him so much, because like there, at every opportunity, he's trying to just go past people. But in those occasions, you know, as you learn, as you get older, he's just got to take that in, wait for support, set it off, spin again, get himself in the box. And those are the things that the young players have to learn, isn't it, as they go along.
Yeah, the raw nature of Offord makes him so exciting. Some of the goals he scores, some attempts he even has. Finding it 8 times this season. A couple of stunning strikes in Europe. Now it's back with Chris Johns. Alton Top wins the first header. Wilson can't flick it on. Back once more. Izamala. Away by Roscoe. Thompson can't get control of it. Here's Miller. Thielen having to defend as McGee picks it up and finds a winger once more. Baird. Pass inside was not hard enough, and it enabled Wilson to get there, but it's a little bit scrappy in the last minute or two. Both sides guilty of giving the ball away in possession. Across comes Thompson.
You're right, it's just got a bit scrappy, hasn't it? Both teams giving the ball away under not very much pressure, and just too slow on that occasion from Luke Wilson. Wasn't just dwelled on it in a bad area, and all of a sudden Linfield have got a chance to make an entry into the Portadown box.
Easily cleared by Alton Top. McGee took it down well. Plenty still forward. And the black away shirts of Linfield. Archer plays it in low and cut out by Izamala, with Baird lurking around the back post. And this is the point you've just made. Fife picks it up. He does well. It looked like he did very well, but it's a Linfield free kick, and there wasn't a Portadown player anywhere near him. Linfield take it quickly back to Brown. Home supporters not happy that the free kick went against the home side striker. McGee making more and more headway on that right-hand side.
Yeah, well, we ask for consistency from referees, don't we? And that's 3 that they've stayed true to the rule of just, you know, I think, to be fair, they are trying to buy free kicks as they do. Fitzpatrick does really well here.
Lovely turn from the striker. Ricochets off one of the defenders, is away by Thompson. It's been a gutsy display at the back at times from a Portadown point of view. Body's been thrown at the attacker, and McCary just
looked like he was just taking his time there, didn't it? Yeah. Alton Top actually done well just to get his body across Offord, but
it's a little bit unconventional from McCary. Here's another look at that incident.
It's a free kick, isn't it? It's a free. I don't think it's the last thing from in my opinion that was a free kick to Linfield, and that's what I ended up with. I don't know what Tony's seen there. Yes, you know, strikers often do play for those, but it was clear there he had a hand on his back.
Thielen, can he pick out a teammate? Wins a corner kick at least. First real opportunity he's had since the opening 10 minutes or so of the game. James Thielen. Exactly. And as we approach the half-time whistle, there will be, of course, time added on for the injury to Mulgrew, but Portadown have a chance to go in at the break 1 ahead.
Thielen showed, hasn't he? Anytime he's got the ball in those areas 1v1, and he's got either the wing back or the side centre back squared up, he can just go past them. And unfortunately for Portadown, we haven't seen that since, you know, the opening 10-15 minutes.
Alton Top, Wilson and McKinnon all in a cluster in the corner of the 6-yard box. It's towards that area. It's just over the top from Alton Top, the tallest of the lot. Decent chance.
Terrific effort. Got up really, really well at the back post, and think his reaction there, you can see it. It was a really big chance. It's a good delivery from Fife. Just stands it up. There's actually a crowd of them who go up for it and attack the ball really, really well, and just falls the wrong side of the crossbar for his sake.
One of 4 Portadown players to play every single minute of the league campaign so far. And the board's being readied. 2 minutes. And there's been plenty of debate over the last week about injury time, and I suppose the lack of it added on, particularly in the Northern Ireland Germany game. Just 2 minutes at the end of the 90, but
oh, nice.
it's lovely from Wiley. Thiel's touch couldn't find Fife. And away by McCarry. And 30 seconds of the allotted 2 minutes. Had that break for the Jim McGrew injury, and then Josh Archer came on just after.
Seeing this lovely bit of skill from Wiley to done Isaac Baird a couple of times there, and he looks a class act at times, you have to say. Wiley, when they get him involved, he looks like he's got a lot of quality.
Thielen, one-on-one with McGee, tried to trick, no way past Ethan McGee. Good defending from him, didn't commit himself. Miller looking for Alford. Fitzpatrick felt he was fouled in that situation, and it's another miscued clearance from McCarry, but he managed to get it out of the danger zone. Comes off his line and collects just ahead of Fitzpatrick.
Hasn't inspired much confidence back there, but done really well to get out there and claim that ball. It was a really poor clearance, and does well to recover it and just eat the clock down now and hope the Portadown can get in it scoreless and regroup. And it's been a really entertaining first half. It's hard to believe the scoreline's still 0-0 in all honesty.
That's the biggest surprise, isn't it? We played the 2 minutes of injury time at the end of the 45. Tony Clark has his whistle in his mouth. David Healy and Niall Curry make their way towards the dressing room alongside the players, and I'm sure both of them will be wondering how this game's scoreless. Some good, some bad for both sides. David Healy will, I'm sure, understand that Niall Curry's men have probably created the most clear-cut opportunities. One cleared off the line as well for Linfield, but Kieran Alford went very, very close for the champions. McCarry has been a busy man, as has Chris Johns. But after 45 minutes at Shamrock Park, somehow it's Portadown 0, Linfield 0. We'll be back. Welcome back to Shamrock Park. Niall Curry makes his way across the dugout after an all-action first half. Plenty of chances, but no goals so far between the home side and Linfield here. Philip Lowry alongside me on co-commentary, and we can't quite figure out how that is, because both sides had 4 or 5 really good goal-scoring opportunities.
Massive opportunities for both teams, as you say, Thomas, and nobody on either side able to take them. And you'd think Linfield will have gone in now and regrouped. Very rarely, as we mentioned in the first half, did they give up so many opportunities, and you think David Healy will probably have raised the voice in there and put the wrongs right. And I think for Portadown in this half, they've got to get a bit higher up the pitch. It's going to be a really long 45 minutes if they play the way they played the second half of that first half, which was Eamon Fife on his own against 3 man out in centre half. So
what's your thoughts on this, by the way?
It's something that I think they were debating on the overlap as well. I was listening to this week, and about long throws and this type of set piece. And I always think if you've got the ball, I think you want to try and keep it. But I can see the sense in it. I've seen, wasn't the PSG in the Champions League final last year, where they're probably the first team to do that. And I suppose the evidence there is, you know, they put Linfield into the corner, they keep them in there, and they have a free kick now. So look, in today's game, there seems to be no stone left unturned in terms of all set pieces, whether that's restarts, throw-ins, free kicks, and I suppose it gets the team on the back foot, doesn't it? And I don't know, I think I'm a bit old school probably. I like, you know, trying to keep it and working up the pitch, but it's worked on this occasion for Portadown. They've got a free kick in a dangerous position, and we've seen towards the end of the first half, didn't we? Alton Top attacked the ball really well and just put his header over the crossbar.
It's Fife and McCullough standing over it. Left for the left foot of McCullough. Good run being made, and oh, so close again. It was Lewis McKinnon. Flag stayed down. McKinnon ghosted in unmarked, and there was a sigh of exasperation from Niall Curry. Once more, what a start to the second half that would have been.
It's a huge job. You can see he's a mile onside. He runs from deep, and it just comes off his toe, I think. Just stretching. And that's inches wide of Chris John's post, but that's another, and we can add to the list of Portadown gilt-edged chances, you have to say, right in front of the goal there. And McKinnon, being a defender, probably not as adept at finishing that, and just probably needed to get probably got too good of a contact on it, as they say sometimes, and sent it past the post. But it's encouraging again, and it all came from that restart, from hitting the ball in the corner.
Yeah, it worked. Scored in the Mid-Ulster Cup midweek against Warren Point, and almost grabbed a second in the season. Lewis McKinnon.
He ran from David, just absolutely nobody went with him. I don't know whether his marker thought that he potentially was going to be offside, but you could see from the replay he was comfortably onside.
Wilson battling forward over on the far side. Player's been Portadown longer than anyone else in the current squad. Luke Wilson won the championship twice with the club.
It's good cover from Alton Top on that occasion. The right back, Zamela, had committed himself to look like a ball that he was never going to win, and his colleagues at the back were alert to clear the danger.
McLean goes short. Back to Brown. McLean makes a run inside. Thielen got in the way of it, but it's with McLean once more. Plenty in the middle. I think it's barely trying to force it goalwards. Archer, early substitute for the injured Jamie McGrew, who was forced off, and Fitzpatrick's cross is easily gathered again by McCarry. Once again here now, Curry directing his defenders, trying to keep it tight, stay organised. Mentioned all the goals have been conceded, but had that clean sheet in midweek against Warren Point in the Mid-Ulster Cup, and we'll hope it'll be the first of many. Fitzpatrick wins it in the air. Again, McCarry comes together. Fife's done that really well, hasn't he? We've mentioned he's been isolated on occasions up against two
very physically imposing defenders in Roscoe and Hall, but that's invaluable for his team there. Just never giving up, gets his body in and gets his team up the pitch. That's so valuable to the team, and he's done that really well so far this evening.
No Ukic. No Shane McCartan as well for Portadown. Wiley. Oh, dribbling the side netting. Washed all the way by Chris Johns. And Wiley had an electric opening quarter of an hour of this game. Player who spent time at Celtic, having broken through it locally. Spells at Ballymena United and Cliftonville as well.
He's slightly disappointed with that effort there, but he done well to win the ball back. But Linfield have just started the second half a lot more direct. You know, I've noticed in the opening 2 or 3 goal kicks there from Chris Johns, the back three have pushed right up. There's been no playing out whether or not David Healy's obviously give them some instructions to maybe try and get the ball forward that bit quicker and try and put this Portadown defence under pressure, because at times they had got back into that low block, and Linfield were maybe just passed it sidewards and probing for that opening. But looks like they've tried to get the ball forward quicker and get runners in around it, pick up second balls and try and just have that relentless pressure where the opposition just all of a sudden then start, you know, maybe shank clearances and it's poor and the ball's ricocheting about and all of a sudden it's in their net. So it's a change of tactics for Linfield in this opening 5 minutes.
McGee slowly rotating. Flicked on by Miller, not who you'd expect to be in that situation. Away again from McKinnon, who had that chance a moment ago. Thielen looking for Fife, that lone striker who's... Well, it took a while for the whistle to sound. I think initially Linfield thought that Ben Hall was going to get away with that one, but once more it's good play by Fife to get his team up the pitch.
Really good play, and you know, he had one in the first half where it was way less than that, and it ended up a free kick to Linfield. So I don't know what they've seen for the first one, but that was certainly really good play again from Fife to hold up and bring his teammates into play.
Tollett looks through the middle for Fife on the shoulder of Roscoe. Isamal, Thielen. Chance for him to try and create something.
I just thought Thielen might go at him there. It was a bit of a mismatch with himself and Roscoe. You thought if he could just use his trickery and his pace, but
it's probably the most tentative he's been all year.
Yeah, you were kind of, when he got it there, you kind of thought, get at him. Well, he's done well. He's got his team. I'm not sure if it went for a throw-in, did it, or maybe it did go for a corner. It looks like maybe
it looks like it is going to be a corner kick.
Yeah.
Eamon Fife's coming across to take it anyway, so
chance to get the big man in the box again.
And they have looked dangerous from set pieces like this. Portadown. Alton Top had that opportunity in the first half. Wiley trying to lift it across with the outside of his left foot, but gathered by Johns. Trying to catch Linfield out with the short corner kick. Johns a little bit frustrated that there weren't players further up the pitch. He wanted to play that one early. Thielen. Fife. Thielen's continued his run in the middle. Fife. Good effort. Did it take a touch?
Yeah,
referee
saved it. Yeah,
does say yes. It did appear as if it did from our angle, but there was just a moment of reluctance before the whistle sounded.
That was some strike from Fife. That's what we were talking about in the first half, about putting your laces through the ball. I think it's probably going on the outside of the post, but still a ferocious strike. Caught it ever so sweetly, and Chris Johns did just tip that round the post. Probably wasn't sure if it was going to creep inside it, but more good play, and it all seems to be coming through Thielen and Fife for Portadown down this right-hand side. There seems to be gaps there that they're exploiting, and yep, Fife's led the line terrifically for Portadown this evening. It's been an all-round really, really good performance from him.
McCullough's ball in, and there is the opener. It's Alton Top, went oh so close in the first half. Finds a net, in the opening 10 minutes of the second. It's just a second goal from open play that Linfield have conceded this season, the third overall. And Portadown eventually do have a goal. And David Healy will first of all be saying, was it a corner in the first place? And then be disappointed as they've gone behind.
It's fully deserved, you have to say. And the previous free kick, they took it short, and I was almost screaming to myself, like, why are you doing that? Because every set piece that they've put in, it looked a massive threat. And Alton Top, he had one in the first half, we mentioned, just over the crossbar. And he got up ever so well at the back post there. And Portadown deserve a goal. You have to say, they've knocked so many times on the door, and it's a defender who breaks a deadlock. A terrific header from Alton Top.
Barris Alton Top with the opening goal here at Shamrock Park. It's taken a lot longer than we expected, given the amount of opportunities in Linfield are behind. Flicked on by Fitzpatrick. Could fall for Sean Brown. What a response this would be, just over the top from Brown.
Massive opportunity for Linfield, and Niall Curry will be going ballistic down there. 10-15 seconds after opening the score, and it's a poor header from McCulloch, you have to say. And Brown on his weaker left foot just can't keep it down. That's a massive opportunity for Linfield. But as you say, that looks like David Healy's ready in the substitutions. He's not going to wait about as Morrison and McKee are stripped and ready. But Linfield have just looked off it, haven't they, all evening? Opening first 5 minutes, they looked really, really sharp. But after that, they've given up so many opportunities, and they could have no complaints. They're behind.
Baird wins a free kick. If the game does ever calm down, we'll maybe get an opportunity to look back at that initial decision to award the corner kick, because certainly Johns felt that he hadn't got a touch. It's all history now, but hopefully we will be able to clear it up as it's played across to McGee. As you would expect, a little bit more of a higher tempo being played by Linfield, having gone behind.
It just shows you the value in shooting as well, doesn't it, from Eamon Fife? Very easily could have just, tried to back into the defender, but he saw the opportunity and he pulled the trigger as early as possible and got aside the corner that led to the goal.
Tullum. Good run from him. Tries to squeeze his way through. Small gap between two Linfield players. You can hear what the home supporters think of it. The referee unmoved. Here comes a double switch. McKee and Morrison getting ready. First player to make way, I think, is Baird, and McGee's the other. Just before the arm mark.
Yep, David Healy not messed about. Two extremely positive changes. Morrison's a player who at times has looked red hot, hasn't he? He's almost played in flashes for Linfield. I think he scored 4, didn't he, in an earlier game this season, so they'll be looking for him to get going. He's always an exciting player, wants to go forward, wants to make things happen, and Linfield have the strength and depth, don't they? It's probably the strongest squad outside of Corrine in terms of attacking options and numbers that they have, so they're going to need something special here to get back into the game. And they've looked vulnerable, you have to say, in the transitions this evening. In those moments where they've committed men forward and the balls broke down, they have looked slightly susceptible to the pace of Thielen and Fife and the midfield runners. So there's certainly, hopefully, be, for Portadown's sake, opportunities there when the ball does break in those scenarios.
Thielen left Thompson with a lot to do. He still managed to squeeze it across to the winger, but now it's Morrison's first real involvement in an attacking sense.
Zamala stuck to his task well, didn't he? It's a new opponent to deal for him, someone who's going to face him up at every opportunity and just take him directly on.
Taking short to Morrison, only on the pitch. Has support from Miller.
Brilliant.
Wiley does very well to win the ball back, and a sheer frustration from Morrison's point of view. he goes into the book.
It's really good play from Wiley. Textbook defending, wasn't it? Just didn't buy the tricks, stood his ground, waited for the moment, and then used his body really, really well. And here we see a replay of the shot from Fife, and slightly inconclusive, I would say, from that replay. To me, in real time, it looked like Chris Johns got a touch.
I would agree,
yeah.
But I mean, but Chris Johns at the time was also, in his defence, adamant that he hadn't.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of movement on that ball as well. The way we mentioned how well Fife actually struck it. But look, if it's a corner, he's given it, then you still just have to defend it. You know, you get 20 or 30 of those a season. You just gotta get in, mark your man, and defend it. And that's another opportunity there that Fife should definitely have done better on.
An hour played. Alton top with the only goal of the game so far for Portadown. After a first half full of chances, Sean Brown almost equalised instantly as it's given away cheaply at the back. Fife. Driven low. Had the run of Wiley as well alongside him, and that's a bit of a relief for the Linfield backline. It was a little bit too casual, and Eamon Fife did what he's been doing for the opening 60 minutes of this game.
Don't blame him at all for having a shot on the evidence that we've seen this evening, and what a handful he's been. Probably the best performance I've seen from Eamon Fife since he's come into the league. He's been excellent.
Roscoe. Brown. Going to run all the way through to Aaron McCarry.
It's been a bit sloppy from Linfield. We just see it again here. It's Fife. Yeah, for me, that's a clear touch from Johns. I don't know what you think, but it looks to me like he gets something on that. It's not going in, which probably makes it more difficult to judge, but for me, he gets a touch on it.
Wiley. To Fife. Closed down again. He's been electric for the last couple of minutes.
Could be more controversy if this one goes in, because the Linfield fans are going crazy behind that net, whether or not that's a corner. But Linfield, they've almost gotten worse since the goals went in. They've been really, really sloppy. Big gaps at the back, and that one did look like the Linfield defender blocked it back on to Fife, and Portadown, as we said, they'll pile the big men forward. And Alton top, he's got one goal. He might have had another, and he'll be fancying his chances at every opportunity, especially with the deliveries of Stephen McCulloch.
Well, this is Eamon Fife's 99th appearance. He's certainly given it 100% so far as it's played in by McCulloch, who you wouldn't put it beyond him to have a go from that position. Maybe aware of where Johns was, Steve McCulloch. He's got that ability with his left foot, and it's going to be from the opposite side this time. Does it actually, maybe even touched it onto the woodwork there. Chris Johns.
It's making him go to the other side. Why, I don't know. Looked like it went out, if anything, closer to this side, but it's good keeping, isn't it, from Chris Johns, because he's under pressure from Ismail as well. He does well just to get that over the crossbar and go from the other side now.
McKinnon's made a run towards the far post. Could fall for McKinnon. Couldn't get his feet sorted out. Goes down. Referee says no penalty despite the protests. McCarry settles himself. A couple of the big men staying up from that last attack. Could be a 2-on-1 here over on the far side. What a run. Blocked initially and then over the top from Tulloch. And it's so unlike, not to take anything away from Portadown, it's so unlike Linfield.
Yeah, Linfield are all over the place at the minute. They really are, and the crowd are letting their thoughts known. But I'm screaming at him in my head to give it to Fife on the outside, and then he beats 3 or 4 men, and even Wiley there, you can see he's wide open for a set. But Tulloch was a very unpredictable player, doesn't he? He looks like he's capable of the brilliant and also the not so brilliant in the same phase of play. But he's been a good outlet for Portadown. He's been really, really bright all evening. Sometimes his qualities maybe let him down, but he's certainly been an outlet for them.
Same side that the goal came from. Dealt with by Johns, who palms into the path of Morrison. Alton top, and goes all the way back to McCary. The home supporters are certainly loving it. That's the away ones, not so much, as Fife flings himself at it.
If they just need to steady themselves, the crowd obviously making a bit of noise against them, and things have gone astray with a few passes, and they've given up a couple of opportunities, but they just need their talisman, likes of McLean, get on the ball, try and just keep it ticking, make things happen for them, and hope an opportunity appears that they can take. But right now, Portadown look like the team in the ascendancy.
McKee. Lovely touch from Offord. Quickly closed down though. As Amala gets it clear, there's still a long time to go. 25 minutes. But I think it's fair to say that, given the fact that Linfield were living dangerously at times in the first half, we kind of expected a different performance coming out of the dressing room. Maybe had a bit of a tune in there from David Healy, and you expected a reaction, and it just hasn't come yet.
No, it hasn't. And this is the thing, that Linfield in the first half were playing that ball to Roscoe. They were working it up the pitch, whereas all of a sudden they've just started going to Fitzpatrick like that, looking for runners off it, and the gaps are then massive, exactly like this. Look, Thielen's away, they're stretched, and all of a sudden they're running back towards their own goal, and a bit of better quality there from Thielen and Portadown our end. So they just haven't got their distances right, Linfield. You know, if you're going long, that's completely fine, but you've got to get your midfield close to your strikers. You've got to get your back three up to the halfway line and keep the ball in there and recycle it. That's how you get pressure on an opposition. Whereas right now, the ball's going forward, the midfield are 20 yards behind, the back three are another 20 yards behind that, and Portadown are just running into the gaps and causing all sorts of problems.
Linfield have scored 25 goals in their last 9 visits to Shamrock Park. Unbeaten here in all of those games. They've won 7 of them.
It's a couple between Fife and the opposition that could have went the other way. And it's that nudge in the back again, isn't it? But Fife's caused Hall and Roscoe all sorts of problems, hasn't he, with his movement, and looks like another double change coming up for Linfield.
Yeah, another double attacking change. Yates and Taylor, 2 of the players who were introduced towards the end of the summer window. Off goes Kirk Miller. And Sean Brown over in the far side, I think, who's made his way off as well. Yeah,
he's emptied the bench, hasn't he? He's going all out to try and get something. I think he has to. It's as we said, it's been poorish from Linfield since the start of the second half.
David, he spoke about the players and how much he enjoyed working with them in advance of this game, but he'll expect a reaction from them. He'll expect something from them in the last 20 minutes.
Certainly will, and we've mentioned how competitive this league is now with the teams at the top. The slip-ups like this against, look, take nothing away from Portadown. Every team that comes here this season will get a game. They'll know they'll have to play really, really well to get something, but over the course of the season, when you come to these places, because of how competitive the league is now, really, you can't afford to drop too many points. So, as we said, eventually the bench, they've got a good opportunity for an overload here.
2 of the substitutes combining Yates and Taylor. Once more they link up, and it bounces nicely in favour of McCary.
You're just looking for a bit more decisiveness there, aren't you? Just great opportunity. It worked in overload, and just wonder, could he have thrashed the ball at the goal himself there?
Fitzpatrick does well to win the initial header, and that's McKinnon who comes across. He had the chance as well. You're thinking about some of the opportunities already in this game.
It seems so long ago now that Portadown had all those chances in the first half, but you're thinking back to them, they had that one cleared off the line from Fife. They had the one that made its way to Tulloch on the left-hand side, where it was an absolute sitter, you have to say, where he should have scored it. There was the Ben Wiley one from the edge of the box, the Alton top header, and then the McKinnon. So they've had so many opportunities, and said Linfield can have no complaints that they have conceded from the number that they've given up.
But they still have time. Pushed into the path of the substitute. Super double save from McCary. It was offered, his head in his hands, can't quite understand how he hasn't equalised from close range. The initial effort was from Samuel Taylor. That was stopped into the path of Offord. It ricocheted off him, and McCary pushed it away for a corner kick. More defending to do now, and it's gathered by the experienced goalkeeper.
Not sure how that ball didn't go in the net. And I think McCary, initially, I think this is actually quite poor in terms of he palms it straight back into the danger zone to a Linfield player, but he doesn't half make up for it. Two unbelievable saves to keep Linfield out.
Thielen. Could be a long 20 minutes for Portadown, looking to end that 9-year wait for a victory here over Linfield.
It's about game management now, isn't it? You can see fullbacks taking his time ambling up the pitch, and but of course they're entitled to do that as being 1-0 up.
But it's a strange situation for Portadown where arguably their best form of defence is attack, because that's when they've looked at their best, that's when they've looked dangerous, that's when they've arguably looked most comfortable.
Yeah, I agree completely, and they probably almost want Linfield to come onto them and commit the bodies forward, because that's when they've looked, as you say, they're most threatening. And it's an intriguing last 20 minutes we're set up for. It's been a really entertaining game. I'd say that we've only had one goal, but there's been so many opportunities, and still lots of twists and turns, I'm sure, before the end of this one.
Yeah, how many times have we seen Linfield come from behind to win? They need something to go their way this evening. Here's Offord, and there are black shirts flooding forward. It takes a deflection out for another corner kick.
It's better from Linfield, and it's more patient. They were doing exactly what they did in the first half. The ball goes to the defence, it's played through the midfield. All of a sudden it's a clever bit of movement between Fitzpatrick and Offord, and they get a shot off and a corner and an opportunity to load the box.
Players not picked up. Dealt with though by Ismaila. Morrison. Collar, 2-on-1. Thielen in support. Fikes also helping out. Thielen, can he get there? Yes, he can. It's 2. On his birthday, James Thielen doubles Portadown's advantage. And the upset could well be on here at Shamrock Park. It's exactly the point you were making.
It's transitions again. It comes across to Morrison on the left-hand side. Poor delivery, breaks. All of a sudden, Portadown, pace and numbers. It's that man talking again. Breaks the tackle. He should be put into the stand there. Does really well. And all of a sudden here you're thinking, is it going to be Fife? It's not the greatest pass, you have to say, but somehow it finds its way to Thielen through Archer's legs. I'd be disappointed with that. Archer think that he hasn't intercepted it, but take nothing away from Thielen. We mentioned he's been a bright spark, the birthday boy today, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that. You say his performance, he deserves it. And Portadown are well worthy to be 2 goals to the good in this game.
I know he doesn't get the touch, and quite rightly, James Thielen celebrates the goal, but the intent of Fife,
yeah,
just to give that option,
100%.
if you like.
And that's selfless. That's what he's been all night. That's completely selfless running, and that may look like nothing, but all of a sudden that defender's got a huge decision to make, and the gap becomes bigger between Tulloch and the pass, and it makes it an easier pass for him. And he's been excellent, Fife. It's been a trademark centre, how to play up front on your own, how to occupy at times what's been a back 3 really, and physically he's been more than a match for the big guys, but also in the channels he's held the ball up, he's brought others into play, and it's been a real polished performance from him.
McCary, who made that triple stop, the final 2 of them top class moments before it. Thielen. Only one thing in his mind. Morrison's forced to come back out and help his defender. Still Thielen. Too much in the cross. Kept in play though on the far side by Tulloch, who himself played a huge part in that goal. Wiley. Desire to get to the end of the 1-2, and Archer's pinned back. And suddenly the belief is with Portadown.
That goal probably sums Tulloch's performance up, hasn't it? You know, moments of absolute brilliance, and then he got through, and you're thinking, did he have the pass in the locker? And he probably put it the one place you thought where he maybe shouldn't have, right at Archer, and somehow it made it through to Thielen. But he's been really effective, you have to say, and he's got an assist, and he could probably have a couple of goals to his name as well.
No clean sheets in 6 games at home for Portadown this season. Mentioned already, second worst defensive record in the league. The only side who've conceded the same number of goals. Rude to the bottom, Glenavon, without a point after 11 games. Fife to Wiley. Tulloch still going. No real power in the effort.
I think you have to remember Portadown had played a game on Tuesday night against Warren Point in the Middle Ulster Cup, I think, didn't they? And so it's been a.
And Niall Curry picked a strong team,
yeah,
which isn't what all managers do in competitions like that.
Yeah, and you know, Linfield, we mentioned, haven't played a game in the league for 3 weeks, and being a full-time team, Portadown look fresher, you have to say. I know obviously confidence comes into it when you're 2-0 up, but you know, you look at McCulloch here, he's charging forward and he's winning balls he's not entitled to win. They look hungry, and they look fresher, they look really determined, and they've been outstanding.
Linfield have made their substitutions. Niall Curry, I'm sure, will be considering his options. Morrison forced him to get it back into his path. Ricochets off the defender and gathered by McCary. I understand they were just going to slow this down. There is David Healy. I'm sure he can't quite figure out what's going on there, given the way that this game is played out. So rare to see one of his sides over the past 10 years give up this amount of opportunities. As referee plays advantage. Offord nips in between a couple. Can Linfield get one back? Oh, so close to doing so.
Huge opportunity for Sam Taylor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Taylor over on the far side, head in his hands.
Just worked its way across to him on that right-hand side, and all he had to do was just place that beyond McCary. You can see Alton Top commits himself. That man Offord again just finds Taylor, but got the finish all wrong. That's a massive opportunity. If that goes in and there's 15 minutes left, you'd imagine that gives Linfield a massive shot in the arm, and they would throw everything at it, but it wasn't to be for Taylor.
I think David He's questioning the decision not to book the player for the initial foul when advantage was played. Here's Morrison. He's looked dangerous in this near side. Across to Yates. Linfield had to go for it. Just over 10 minutes remaining as the high hanging cross nestles into the hands of McCary.
It's a game. Yes, Linfield are 2-0 down, but they've had huge opportunities as well. What a touch that sums that man's performance up as
he's having one of those nights, isn't it?
Pulls it out of the sky. Bergkamp-esque. It's stuck to his foot, but you know, as poor as Linfield have been defensively, you know, the games are won in both boxes, aren't they? And Portadown have been slightly more clinical than they have, albeit both teams have been slightly profligate at times. So still opportunities you would feel for Linfield, but you do get the impression they need to score soon and get this crowd on side and make a big push for it in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, Linfield goal and anything could happen with time ticking down. 5 in the box, and the cross evades all of them.
Yeah, Portadown doing really well, just happy to sit behind the ball, asking Linfield to come up with something special, and so far they've not been able to. As we see this touch from Eamon Fife, he's been holding off players all evening, and now he's pulling them out of the sky and doing it, and that one just gets away from him for once. But excellent centre forward stuff from him, and you just wonder, will he have the full 90 minutes in him? The amount of ground and work he's covered, it's been relentless from him.
Linfield face Cliftonville in the County Antrim Shield midweek. Then it's Ballymena United, Coleraine, Cliftonville in the league. Pivotal few weeks coming up. Portadown play Coleraine next. Here's Yates. Back to McLean now with the armband on after Mulgrew was forced off in the early stages through injury. Kirk Miller took over. Now it's with the experienced midfielder McLean. Thielen battling forward, finding his man.
It was a foul he didn't need to make, because it was actually an underhand pass and while he was away, but the ball's just been kicked away as more time is wasted. You can see David Healy not too happy there.
Yeah, felt that there perhaps should have been a card for the ball being kicked away as Yates flicks it in over the head of Alton Top and Fitzpatrick, and Linfield are having to commit players forward now. Yates. Not Curry wants pressure in the ball, and this is the dilemma they find themselves in if they can pick out a pass here, but it's a poor pass. Yates over the top, and well, you expect there's going to be quite a bit of that in the remainder of this game, where Linfield have a go in a scenario like that, a better pass, and it could have been a 3-on-2.
Yeah, exactly.
At the other end for Portadown.
A bit more quality there from Fife, and Portadown are away again on the transition, and it ends up to a really poor pass from Fife, and that's high and wide from Yates.
Linfield's only defeat so far this season against Ballymena United. Matthew Clark's winner at the showgrounds after a game where Linfield had so much possession. But Jim Irvin's side got the result. We're very disciplined on that evening. It's been a very different game this evening. All action at times. Chances galore. And again, David Healy asking the question is that why there are no cards here, because Portadown are trying to slow this down. I should expect Alton Top with the initial foul, and then finally you can see what happened afterwards. Headed wide once more. This time it's McKee.
They just got in each other's way there, I think, McKee and Fitzpatrick. But Portadown happy now just to kill the game off. McCary, very experienced individual, will just eat away at the clock now.
Thielen scored the second, has a poor touch. It's Wilson battles for it. Really good feet though from Yates. Morrison. Players arriving in the middle. The set is towards McKee. McLean dealt with by Alton Top. And it's the fact that when the crosses are coming in, they're arguably too easy for Portadown to deal with. There's the quality deliveries maybe hasn't been quite what you expect from Linfield so far, but they've got a free kick instead in a good position.
Yeah, that's a number of free kicks now Linfield have had in dangerous positions, and Portadown, you say they probably just are getting that bit tired now going into the last 7 or 8 minutes.
That's better. Good fall for McKee. Away though by Thompson. Fife tried to use his body to get there ahead of Morrison. Lifted in once more. McLean, all one-way traffic now. McCarry gathers a headed effort from Yates. It was Taylor over on the far side who played the ball across the other wing.
It's last-ditch defending from Portadown, isn't it? And Portadown were looking at a foul there from Morrison, and when it did break the edge of the box, he was on a booking, but Tony Clark was unwaved in the middle. And we just mentioned Portadown were getting slightly tired. They've been paying back in. They're going to make a change here, and it's Luke Wilson coming off.
Super shift put in. On comes number 21, Rabi Minzama.
Yeah, Wilson and Thompson have been pivotal in there, haven't they? We mentioned them at the beginning of the game. Loads of experience. Don't do anything overcomplicated. Just keep it simple. Allow the guys in front of you to go and win you the game. And they've gone through a mountain of work in there. And just fresh legs now to come on and see out this last 5 or 10 minutes.
Fife. Thielen. Here's Wiley. All very congested that area. Thielen. Skipped past the first challenge, couldn't evade the second. A lot of tired legs out there. Alton Top struggling to get back to the pass it to McCarry. Apologised to the goalkeeper straight away for it, but it's the players in red still in possession as Fife battles for it. So too does Wiley, but it's picked up by Taylor. Trying to make something happen. Offord forced away from goal. Fitzpatrick lurking in the edge of the 6-yard box. McLean. Archer's first time ball in. Nobody was attacking the area in front of McCarry's goal.
Oh, it was a great ball in, wasn't it? It was just begging for someone to gamble and just get in there.
Morrison skips away from Thielen. Pull back to McKay. Quinn getting ready to come on. Time ticking down. Swept forward by Johns. Portadown throw it. I think it's going to be a change now. Ben Quinn. It's been used off the bench a lot. A 20-year-old. And you can see the supporters showing their appreciation for Tulloch.
Really good night from Tulloch, wasn't it? He's not a player, I have to be honest, I know very much about. Obviously just coming into the league this year, but he was excellent. He was as honest as the day's long. At times maybe that bit of quality maybe let him down, but at other times it was there for all to see, and he put on a terrific shift as Portadown break again.
Fife. Thielen. Numbers over here. Quinn's lurking. Thielen might decide to go himself with Wiley also alongside him. And right from the word go, it's been a feature that when Portadown have gone forward, they've gone forward in numbers. There's always been support. That another example of it. Yeah, Tulloch played a couple of games for West Brom in the FA Cup. Had loan spells at the likes of Doncaster and Dundalk, and then won League of Ireland title with Shelburne. Picked up an injury at the start of the campaign now, trying to get back to his best as it skids off the head of the defender into the hands of McCarry, who's going to take every single second he can.
And rightly so, and it's a market Portadown. They've always delved, haven't they, into the League of Ireland, and they've always had those contacts, and he looks like another gem that they've unearthed.
Off the back of Fife. And all eyes are now going to be on the fourth officials board when it is eventually raised. McLean. McKee Looks for the run of Offord. McCary off his line, quickly closed down the striker and gets it away for the corner kick. Good anticipation from McCary.
Brilliant goalkeeping from McCary. Really alert to the situation. It was a lovely ball down the side from Chris McKee, and Offord gets there first, does everything right, hits it true, but McCary was alert to the situation, made himself really, really big, and takes a sore one there in the process, and I'm sure he'll be in no rush to get back into his goal. Maybe he comes off his chest, is it? Or
back up on his feet and onto his goal line, Aaron McCurry. Here comes the resulting corner kick. McCary gets a fist to it. Good stop from Morrison. So many volleys between the Scotsman and the goal, and it was McCary who jumped out in front of all of them. McLean, 5 additional minutes. Still doable from Linfield's point of view. Alton Top hammers it clear.
Yeah, Linfield have thrown everyone up front now. They've got the big men. Roscoe and Hall have gone up front.
Archer. Yates. Taylor wants it over in the far side. Headed away by McKinnon, who's been immense as well.
He's been a man mountain alongside Alton Top in the middle of that Portadown defence. They've been immense.
Niall Curry's daughter is playing for Linfield tomorrow in the cup final. No doubt there were his allegiances this evening. Can his side see this one out and secure a huge 3 points? Thielen's second goal has put them in the driving seat as Fife wins a free kick and alleviates a little bit of pressure.
That's exactly what Portadown want, isn't it? Just as you say, gives them a chance just to kill another minute or so. As we see, McCary does really well initially with the punch and gets back out and makes another save. That's a number of times he's done that, where he's made a couple of saves in quick succession, and you know, he'll be disappointed with the number of goals Portadown have conceded this season. He was probably their player of the season last year, wasn't he? When they came up, he was outstanding, and he'll be delighted if he can manage to hold on here and keep a clean sheet against the champions.
Archer goes backwards, just over 3 minutes remaining. Linfield need 2 goals to get something from this fixture. McKee. McLean. Alton Top does his job, not for the first time this evening. Roscoe. Little nudge in the back from Yates, but defender still did well to win it back, and that's brilliant from Thompson.
Brilliant from Thompson.
Counter-attack could be on if Portadown decide to shift it, and they do towards that far side. Fife to McCullough. Quinn wants it. There was, of course, a temptation to go towards the corner. Yellow for McCullough.
You have to say, Thompson and McCullough, the fitness levels that they've showed at this point in the game and at the age that they are, still going as strong as ever. Thompson doing fantastically well in the right back position to win possession for his team and set up that attack, and McCullough then makes a 70-80 yard run to support the play. It's fantastic to see.
Shoved by Yates and away by McKinnon. It's hard to be critical of any of the Portadown players, the way they've performed. Wiley wins it back, then takes a tumble as Fife perhaps is going to bring it towards the corner. Here's Thielen. Quinn, the substitute, tries to eat up a few more seconds.
The ball ball's exactly where Portadown need it to be, as far away from their goals as possible. And just think Portadown's front three have been so lively, haven't they? They've been involved in everything positive. Really, really good from Niall Curry's men tonight. He'll be absolutely delighted because he's probably been a victim of his own success. Niall, obviously coming up last year, having such a good season, and then maybe not starting this year as well as they've maybe would have liked. But you look at it today, they've won now, they're level in points with 6th place, and everything looks rosy in the garden again.
And I think I'm right in saying that after the same amount of games last season, they had 3 points fewer.
And it doesn't
it's just
feel
the way this campaign has panned out.
Yeah, football can be crazy, If you said to Niall Curry last week, you'll lose to Carrick, but you'll beat you'll lose to Carrick, but you beat Linfield comfortably. You probably say, definitely not. But that's the way football works. You just never know what's around the corner, and what a shot in the arm this will be for them, and a confidence booster moving ahead. And I always think this is a ground that's so difficult to come to. You never get an easy game at Portadown. They always put it up to you physically. They always ask questions of you. You need to be at your best if you want to get anything here.
Spoke before the game about relishing matches like this, and now the Curry side have got the result. First win over Linfield at Shamrock Park in 9 years. 2 second-half goals the difference for Curry's side in a match full of opportunities for both teams. Portadown took theirs after the break, although McCarry still had a job to do. Hugs all round from the home team, and a big shift and a huge result, Philip.
Massive result, and over the balance of play, I think you've got to be really honest and say that Portadown were fully deserving of their victory. Yes, they give up a couple of chances that Linfield will be disappointed they didn't take, but Portadown, I don't think they'll ever play a game against Linfield where they've had so many clear-cut chances, particularly in that first half. They could have been 4-0 up after 20 minutes. You thought their opportunities may have passed, but to be fair, they regrouped at half-time. They went again, and they scored 2 in the second half, and they may have scored more. I thought they were brilliant, and Niall Curry will be absolutely delighted.
Big hug for Aaron McCurry and a handshake for the officials. Linfield leave disappointed. They stay in 4th spot. Portadown jump above Carrick Rangers into 8th. And hopefully we will get an opportunity to look back at the goals that made the difference tonight.
Yeah, this was the big talking point, wasn't it? Was the strike from Fife? Was it a corner or was it not? See it again here. It was definitely going wide, and I know that ball's travelling really fast, but for me, Johns does get a touch on it, and Alton Top, who looked a threat all game from set pieces, you have to say what a leap that was at the back post. We probably didn't comment enough on that during the game, but he's up 2 or 3 feet above his marker there and powers the ball home. That's desire, that's wanting to get in the score sheet, and great finish. And the second we mentioned, this was the threat all night, wasn't it? It was that front three, and it looked like the opportunity had gone with the pass, and that guy Thielen, the birthday boy, and he was like that all night. He was so sharp, so incisive, and Fife with another decoy run and just gets a toe in the ball, and what a birthday present that is.
Doubling Portadown's advantage. Linfield unable to respond. Thielen and Alton Top with the goals that secured a 2-0 victory for Niall Curry's side. Smiles all round Shamrock Park. Let's look at tomorrow's fixtures. Bangor welcome Crusaders. Cliftonville against Larne. Coleraine, the league leaders, face informed Dungannon Swifts. Rodney McAree's side have been in fantastic form of late. Bottom of the table, Glenavon under the new manager Michael O'Connor will hope to get points on the board against Carrick Rangers, and Glentoran welcome Ballymena United. Some good games there.
Some massive games. Really looking forward to seeing how that Coleraine Dungannon Swifts games go. Two teams who been flying high. Dungannon obviously had a disappointing start, but they look banging form, and Coleraine are probably the team on everyone's lips this season with the signings they've made and the start they've made, so that'll be a cracker, and it'll be interesting to see how Glenavon fare as well. Under Michael O'Connor, obviously they look really far adrift, so it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Coleraine lead the way at the top of the table going into tomorrow's fixtures. Glentoran just behind. Linfield stay fourth. Do have matches in hand though. And confirmation there of Portadown going just above Carrick Rangers. Glenavon rooted to the bottom of the table. They'll hope to change that tomorrow. Plenty of sport coming up across the BBC in the coming days. Sports Sound on air tomorrow with the best of the action. Joel Taggart presenting that programme on Radio Ulster and on BBC Sounds from 2 o'clock. Then you can watch full live coverage of the Women's Challenge Cup final. Cliftonville ladies taking on Linfield. Niall Curry's daughter playing for Linfield in that game. That gets underway on the iPlayer tomorrow from 7:15. And then there's Women's Nations League football. The first leg of the playoff between Northern Ireland and Iceland next Friday. 7 o'clock kickoff for that game on the iPlayer. But that's it here from Shamrock Park. Portadown start the weekend with victory over the champions. It's finished here. Portadown 2, Linfield 0. For myself, Philip, and the rest of the team, enjoy the rest of your weekend.